أبدأ خلاص؟ طيب أوكي. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. We are thrilled to have you here as we explore one of the most exciting and transformative opportunities of our time. Today, we're here together to discuss the technology, and not only that, we talk about we envision a future where it reshapes today's practices, aligns with the goals of Vision 2030. This session is tailored with context, from Saudi businesses to solutions that are fully applicable to the Saudi market, driving real-world impact, actionable insights, and setting a bold path forward for artificial intelligence technology. My name is Ibtihal Al-Shahri from the Market Studies Department. I'm leading today's session with a team of great colleagues, and I hope you will leave with fresh insights, inspired ideas, and the excitement to drive AI adoption in your own work, not only fueling your organizational growth, but also contributing to our shared national vision. So let's get started. Before we dive in, we will have a safety moment by Muhandis Ibrahim Jaman.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Good morning, everyone. This safety moment comes to ensure the safety of our staff and our esteemed guests. We'll display to you is the emergency evacuation map, but before getting into that, I would like to remind all of us of our current location. We are located in CAFD Area 3 or Zone 3, SIDF building 3.04. On the second floor, the west side of it, the auditorium. Also, I would like to confirm that we have no fire drills scheduled for today. So in case the fire alarm is activated, kindly listen carefully to the instructions. Coming out or provided in the voice messages from the evacuation systems or from our personnel assigned to this floor, from our safety or fire wardens. But in general, in case of any evacuation, God forbid, the general procedures are as follow. You just need to head to the nearest exit to you, going through the green zone, the exit corridor to the exit stairs all the way down and then out from the building. Then you should head straight to the assembly points assigned. As you can see underneath, we have two assembly points assigned, one at the Wadi and one at the CAFD Grand Mosque. That's pretty much it, and wish you a safe and a warm day.
Thank you, Engineer Ibrahim. So, in brief, we will discuss the agenda for today. We will have two segments for this session. We will have presentation segments discussing use cases, and then we will have a panel discussion where we discuss the risks and challenges coming to artificial intelligence. And then after that, we would have awards and then lunch and networking. So starting with the presentation on use cases, we would like to start with our colleague, Mushtaq Hussain.
Thank you, Ibtihal. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. First, thanks a lot for our esteemed speakers, panelists, and to all my dear colleagues on attending this AI event. So this AI event, a day dedicated to empower the transformation power of our artificial intelligence in our industries. In this presentation, I'll brief you on SIDF support on projects which we finance in manufacturing sectors. I'll walk through with the two examples which we have funded for industrial IoT solutions, AI solutions, and all. So now, at SIDF, one of our goals is to increase the productivity in manufacturing sectors. We are embracing the future by providing various channels to support industries and which they can implement AI. So now the programs that we have, that we support are Tanafusiya program, wherein we provide loans for digital transformation project, where we can plug in AI projects. Second is Project financing, wherein we finance it for entire project, AI projects could also be included. Number 3, we provide multipurpose financing loan. There you can include AI and digital transformation projects. In addition to this, we provide advisory service wherein you can enhance productivity in energy and in digitalization. We support that to provide advisory services. There also you can plug in AI. Finally, we have tied up with few partners which are available online. Siemens, Schneider, and so many who are of IoT platform and giving a solution on AI and so many other things. You can explore and utilize their services. As a side, one of our goal is to enhance the productivity. At SIDF, we are proud that we have financed many AI-driven projects, helping drive innovation and efficiency across the kingdom. One of which is close to my heart, is AI enabling welding project. I'm sure like everybody can imagine how the welding goes on in any production line, right? Now, if you see steel pipes, which are used for transporting the crude oil from one place, from the source to the production plant or to any refinery, it's a challenging task. We have a lot of pipe which are gone through from these sources to destination. When we manufacture pipes, it's always a challenge for manufacturers. Why is it a challenge? Because the transportation of the material which is inside is very volatile. It can have a huge impact. So the welding should be very precise and it should be done to an accurate. In order to get that accuracy, there are lots of data that we collect the data. Now, if you can see here, we have weld temperature, voltage, current, weld speed, and so on. Gas flow rate, wire feed, surface temperature, and all. Arc length, again, is one of the key parameters when you do the welding. So now, what AI does is, it will collect all the data from the machine, from IoT sensors. It collects the data, stores the data locally, and then we clean the data. We build the relationship with the different data sets. And when we build up the relationship, and then we can say like, okay, use this model and then give me what it should be. Like we have a lot of data sets, okay? Now we have arc length versus so many things, arc length, voltage, current, weld temperature, and all. Now this model, AI model, what it does is it will analyze all this, and then we will say like what relationship should be built in. So now let me take you an example. Now in any sort of a factory, fluctuation of voltage is always there, which is like we have to live with that condition. Voltages are bound to go up and down. Imagine if the voltage goes down, then the arc length, when you're doing the weld, will be longer. Okay, if the voltage is low, this is longer. The energy dissipated by these guns will be less. So meaning the rod which is coming and then the temperature which is coming, it will be lowered. In that case, what it should happen, the welding should go slower, at the slower phase. The feed of the rod should be slower phase. So now, human, he cannot visualize or he cannot actuate so many things. We have so many parameters, as I showed you in the other slide. There could be variation of temperature, there could be variation of current, there could be variation of so many 19 parameters which I said. So humanly, taking all those data and then reacting to it, it's very impractical. What we need is AI. So now AI will take this and take a decisive action. So now it will do the action, it will do the welding, okay? So now I'll play how it has been done. It's a very small video. I'll just like... So imagine, now this much of data is getting analyzed. How? By a small little chip, which is built in which we have trained the model, and then it'll execute that. Can a human challenge it? No. Human cannot take 19 different parameters and analyze. Can he perform immediately within a second? No. Can a chip do it? Yes, it can do. So now, who has the more power? It's AI. It's AI chip, which can drive the world. So this is what we are trying to address it. So we have funded this sort of projects, okay? So now, I'll leave it up to you, like the benefits you can think about. What benefits can AI do? It can do wonders for you. It can enhance the welding quality, which is one. It can give you the real-time detection. It can detect you whether it's a faultier or not. It can do. And then it can reduce the weld defects, okay? And then faster production, and so on and so on. I don't have to say, like, you all are good enough to understand that. So we get a lot of value, okay? Value number one. And then, let me just give you an example. In here itself in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, the market size of just the steel. Sorry, let me just give that instant. Now, if we see the steel pipes, right, it's a very big market. Now, the market just for welding steel pipes, Aramco consumes, and so many other facility drilling, and so many they consume. Now, the size of this is 12 to 15 billion US dollars only for the steel pipes. Okay, imagine this welding application. It could be implemented in many factories, right? We have so many operations which we do. So it's a tremendous value. So by implementing this AI, the client of us, they have increased the productivity by 30%, okay? And defects brought down by 80 to 90%. So you can see the economical value that you can get by AI. So now you are getting a huge amount of value in terms of economy, in terms of resources, and so on. Yeah. Well, no, the one which I give you an example of 12 to 15 billion US dollar, that's only for the steel pipes. Yes, only for, okay? Thank you. And then, so this is one case which we have funded, and we are proud of it, okay? So now the next one is using AI in animal feed, okay? So this, I just like brought this case so that I can grab attention from all of you. Now, I'm sure, like animal feed, everybody knows, right? We give what? Corn, we could give soya bean, and so on. Why do we give? We need to have a proper nutrients for our poultry farm, chicken, and then cattle, and camel, and so on. We need to have a proper food. So if we have a proper food, they consume good food. Okay, so now, what happens in Saudi Arabia, we're not manufacturing all the raw material, right? We don't. So now most of these are imported. We import corn, we import soya bean, and so on, okay? When we import this product, the nutrient values of these products are not uniform. Every time it changes. Sometimes they are importing from Europe, they are importing from Ukraine, they're importing from US, they're importing from India, and so on. So the nutrients values are differ every time when a ship arrives. Usually it comes in a big ship. They are different. Now, when the feed is given as a raw material, what happens is this raw material comes to the lab, which are in silos. Now, AI is there. AI, it will immediately check, it will validate what are the properties of a raw material. What is the fat, what is the protein, what is the fiber, vitamins, and what is the size, particle size of those granules, okay? Now, is it like the shape, how big it is, how small it is, it will take. And after that, what it does is, AI will help you to make a small granule or a bigger, and it will tell, this is good for which animal? Is it for a small chick, or a chicken, or a cattle, or a camel, or a cow? Okay, it will tell. And then accordingly, what AI will suggest is, you see these pellet milling plates, okay? Few of them are 4 mm, 6 mm, 8 mm. Nutrients, it will say, and then it will tell what to use in order to get a proper food, okay? So now, it goes on in this, and then it will get blended. Even in blending, AI will help what to be blended. So now, a cow which gives milk, it has to have a different feed. A cow which is used for maybe other purpose, for it has to have different, and for chicks and chicken, it has to be a different. So now it will help even in pellet milling. And then this is how it goes on. From AI is there from the start to the end of the product, okay? So now, once if we give a proper food, to whom? To chicken and animal, they will consume. What they will be? They will be healthy, okay? End of the day, when they are healthy, who will consume? It is us. It is our society. Our society will consume this. And by the way, when we consume this, we will be healthy. Isn't that AI helping us? AI is powerful, right? So that's what the power of AI. Now, SIDF has funded these two projects, right? There are many projects which I wanted to discuss with you, but there's a shortage of time, okay? I'll be more than happy if somebody wants to learn more, discuss more on the projects. I'm here all the time. I'll be like, when I'm off the stage, I'll be there with you, okay? Now, another very strong message here. What's the purpose of SIDF? We want to enhance our productivity. When we have these sort of wonderful tools, AI-powered one, we welcome our existing clients and prospects to come, approach us, take AI advantage. We are giving you the platform. Utilize this platform. Implement AI. We are here to serve you. By this, I'll not take further time. I'll be available here. If you have any questions, I'll be available in Q&A. And off the stage, I'll be available. Thank you for your time. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mushtaq. This very inspiring presentation about the projects that are actually funded by SIDF. So next, we will have Mr. Ladli Patel. Please come in. Mr. Ladli Patel is an expert in financial analytics, and he is coming here from the Arab National Bank.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning, everyone. All right, so this is Ladli Patel, Abu Yassin. I moved to Saudi Arabia 2.5 years ago. I lead the AI and Gen AI initiatives at Arab National Bank. So before I start, anyone working a hands-on data scientist here? Oh, okay. All right, so I'll start. So last 2 years, as a bank, as a team, we invested a lot in AI and Gen AI initiatives. I'll talk about overall as a Saudi market AI initiatives and the top use cases from banking point of view, which we have in our bank, and how did we evaluate those use cases. We'll talk about that, and then challenges and enablers related to Gen AI tailored to Saudi Arabia. And some of the use cases which we are doing within the bank, which is for one of the use cases called Gen AI powered RM in action for wholesale bank, and also credit and combination of AI and Gen AI for credit insight engine. So and Q&A. So this is the recent insight or report by McKinsey for entire GCC countries. So if you see, the low end and high end, the low end is the investment or the opportunity, the overall opportunity what GCC country has, along with the regular money, the market opportunity for Gen AI per se. Gen AI is a separate component within AI. For Gen AI, say it is around 21 billion USD. For in high end, it is like 35 billion USD for annual growth, along with the regular growth, additional growth. So if you just further dig down, if you just type, Gen AI report card by McKinsey, you'll get this report. Within Saudi Arabia, if you see, like 43%, the Saudi Arabia is contributing to this entire annual growth. 43% is from Saudi Arabia. And within further, if you dig down, so it is like a 4 billion in the financial sector, overall GCC. And 4 billion, 40% of 4 billion is what we can say the annual growth which will be there in Saudi Arabia, along with the regular use cases. If you just type it, I mean, this is amazing article or report card, which they did a deep research to come up with this report. So what it says is that a huge potential of Gen AI for say in this market. There's a huge investment, and also there is a huge potential value which is there in AI in this area. So the use cases from a retail banking point of view, right? Which like Arab National Bank. If you see the first use case, there are two major values which we derived. One is the business value and the feasibility. Business value, which basically the money, how much monetary it can bring, and how much impact it can bring. Feasibility, how easy it is to develop and deploy these use cases. So these are the tailored use cases which we recently ran data and AI strategy within our bank. So we met each and every department, like retail, wholesale, treasury, capital, all the department, customer care, IT. So we met each and every department within the bank, and then assessed what they do in their day-to-day basis, and then what are the platforms which are there for us to develop these use cases, and then came up with these use cases in the 14 use cases. And the first one, because it's for us, it is like mostly our customers are retail customers. So the Gen AI powered hyper personalization, which is nothing but when you have an ANB account, so you get tailored product based on your historical information, according to your convenient channel, according to the message which you like at the time when you open. So based on your historical information. So it's like I'm expat with 37 year old with 2 kids, and I like to go and shop on weekends. So I will get the tailored product based on my need. Versus there is one more expat, let's say with my age, but he is often a traveler. He gets a different recommendation. So with the context enabled, my birthday is coming in few days. Versus like imagine there is one more customer who has the same persona as me. His wife's birthday coming or his kid's birthday coming will have a different recommendation. So that's the one use case which we are heavily invested and we are working on. The second is Gen AI powered RM, which is similar to I think what SIDF, like it's for wholesale banking we have. So what relationship manager in bank they do is they spend a lot of time in collecting and preparing the data for client rather than maintaining the relationship itself. So what we are trying to do is that build a consolidated chatbot tailored to our relationship manager or the client's need. So by analyzing the client's historical information. So instead of spending a lot of time on and preparing the data for the client or the talking points for enabling the service, so the relationship manager focus on maintaining the relationship. That's one use case which is, I think, in line with like a organization like SIDF. And then there are many more use cases if you see in from our side. The third use case is the customer knowledge base. So ANB, like you let's say you have an account with ANB, you are facing some challenges, and then suddenly you call the customer care agent. So there are multiple documents they search to collect. So it's a simple knowledge base if you are working on Gen AI. So it's a simple RAG-based architecture, and so on and so forth. Like there are many more use cases. The green one highlighted are tailored, or you can say which are for SIDF are relevant, I believe, based on the banking, the area which you guys are in. So there are some use cases, they have a higher value, but they are hard to implement. Even SAMA doesn't allow. For example, we can't have a personal assistant for end customer. So it's a high value use case, but SAMA doesn't allow. Even the WhatsApp integration, SAMA doesn't allow. So there are use cases, for example, smart virtual assistant. People say that these even the companies like McKinsey or BCG or any other consulting companies, if they come and say that this is one of the use cases which is common, but it is basically high. The feasibility is very very low. Because of the compliance and all. And there is one more like a AI financial coach, which is for retail banking, which is also, if you see, it is at the 14th low feasibility, and business value is relatively higher if you say this is where, but it is still not easy to implement. So if you have any questions, if you need any deeper understanding of any of these, I'm happy to connect and then elaborate further. So yeah, so the use cases are the two metrics what you saw in the previous conversation, so business value and the feasibility. So the use cases which are game changing, like hyper-personalization for us is a game changing, which will have a higher impact for us. And then there are some use cases, everyday use cases. The coding buddy is one of the everyday use cases. The external customer, whether it impacts the external customer or internal customer. So we basically created a matrix rating all of these from 1 to 10. And then we came up with those use cases. So the feasibility, for example, access to relevant data, the architecture, the technology, people, and so on and so forth. Of course, the change management part is also one of the important part. So if you are working in Saudi Arabia for using Gen AI for say, so what are the options we have? So mostly like we are all using ChatGPT, but if you want to use ChatGPT within the bank or within SIDF, it is very difficult, right? The data goes outside KSA. So all the models like ChatGPT is outside KSA. Even Google Gemini is outside. Google say that they have a data center here in Dammam, and they are building some more data centers in Jeddah, but still their model, generative AI model, is not here. The model is still goes, the embedding, if you know the deeper understanding of this, the data stays here, but the embedding and the inferencing still goes outside KSA. So for us, so even the large language model or small language model, there is a new concept called small language model. It's still, for us, what we did is like we have partnered with some other cloud providers. So they gave some GPUs to us, which are on-premise. So if you are leveraging this, the best option is that they gave GPU for us, and then we are using open source model for inferencing. So only for inferencing. Of course, companies like Aramco and all, they train their own model. SIDF can also have trained their own model, but Arab National Bank is relatively a small bank. We cannot train, so that's the reason we are inferencing. We are using infra is a bigger concern here in Saudi Arabia because Google is there, but still these models are outside KSA. As for SAMA, central bank, so we need everything within KSA. Talent is one more big gap here, which we are facing. To overcome this, we are reskilling, upskilling the young minds, and we have programs like GDP programs where they go through the hassle of training, like in detailed training, and then we educate them. We have a dedicated, I personally, sit with the young minds and then guide them on how Gen AI works. So we are doing many more things on that. Operating model is something, is a challenging for us. The retail business, for example, they have their own way of working, and then they're not focused on AI. So forming a team of squad is a win for us. Risk management, scalability. Building POC is very easy in Gen AI, but scaling to the whole bank or the whole business line is very difficult. Data quality issues. Like, for example, cultural resistance and change management is very tough. So we built a model for internal customer department, but they're not using it because they think it will basically change their job or it will kill their job. So this is one of the challenges which we are facing. Instead, we are educating them, it will not kill their job instead, or it will not replace their job. Instead, it will assist them. And then once you build the model, all of this integrating with the legacy system is a challenge, and we are working on that. And obviously, these models come with some more new privacy-related, PI-related stuff, and we are welcoming that. So this is how Gen AI-powered RM works. This is the front end used by RM through API gateway. So we build this Flask-based, and then we have CPU servers. So it goes, it can interact with databases. It can interact with PDFs, like financial reports, for example. So let's say I have a client, I have the information about all his transaction information, which is stored in our database, and I have financial reports, for example, which is the external PDFs. So how do I combine these two? This is a multi-agent architecture. So the inferencing, the model which we are using is the Mistral, open source, and we have GPUs, which basically inferencing for inferencing. The flow goes like this. When I ask questions, which is related to what's a recent transaction of a client, it should go to database. The flow goes like this. From this, we have a LangChain. It basically, if you see the prompt, so we have three databases: vector store, file upload. So basically, LLM will decide where to look for. To look for in object store, or to look for in vector database, which is Elastic, or to look for a database itself. So LLM will decide if the question is asked for database, it goes and queries the database. If question is asked for the knowledge base, it basically asks for the knowledge base. If the question is asked for both in knowledge base and then database, it will, of course, answer that. If you see this, this is the simple interface. At this place, we are asking about the transactions. This place, we are asking about the financial. This place, asking about the database and the financial report, which is a combination of these two. This is a complex task. This is, right now, it's still in POC, but we are doing many more things. Sometimes it doesn't give answers and all. So this is what we have, a simple interface for AI-powered RM. Second, this is beauty. Like this simple use case where, let's say, you, most of the time, what happens is, you are working on AI use case, explainability becomes difficult, right? So you can use, some data set, you build a model. Till here, the journey is simple. Till here, we all been doing. With the power of Gen AI, so we can summarize the explanation. Basically, the explainability, we used to have like a simple data points. So this basically what gives is that you can inject the output of AI model into the Gen AI to explain why the loan is accepted or rejected. So it can be within or it can go to external customer. As of now, we kept it within the bank, like the person who has the authority to lend loan. So he feeds all this information and then gets the insight, why accepted, why rejected, he will get the talking points. So that's what this use case is all about. So you have a model here, and then here the integration of Gen AI comes, and then you generate a financial report and the decision explanation, why the loan is accepted or rejected. So if you see this, there are two outputs. The loan is accepted because it's got a good positive profit margin. The liquidity ratio is also good. Debt ratio is also good. This is the explanation for auto credit insight engine, and then there is also explanation. The loan got rejected. Why it got rejected? The profit margin is low. I know he has a higher debt ratio, so that's the reason. And even the summary you get in detail. And this can be prompted. You can design this prompt according to the convenient. So that's all I just want to convey. So if you have any questions, anything, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Latil. We're going to keep the questions for the end of this after the panel discussion. But thank you very much. Very informative presentation. And you're going to have a lot of questions in the panel discussion about the use cases. So next, we will keep the floor open for STC Solutions presented by Mu'tasim Shajawi. Please come in. Mr. Mu'tasim is an expert, and he's the engineer of the infrastructure of AI at STC Solutions. So thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mu'tasim Shajawi from STC Solutions. Actually, I want to start in the presentation for starting from our references. Why we are here, what solution is presenting the underlying or the infrastructure of the AI. Actually, we perform and execute two bigger projects for the AI workload in Sadaya and Aramco. This is, I think, it's the biggest AI workload infrastructure in the kingdom. So when we prepare, this is the slides, it's based on our experience to perform like this is infrastructure. Now for the agenda, this presentation is talking about the hardware and the infrastructure of the AI workload. The previous presentation is talking about the use cases. To run these use cases, we need powerful hardware and powerful GPU and infrastructure. So let me tell you something about the hardware. Why the AI use cases and the AI studying start in after 2021. To run the AI, we need three factors: the models based on the algorithm and the algorithm and models of the AI. Second, we need the data in digital form. And third, and this is the most important, we need powerful hardware. The powerful hardware was not ready before 2021. After NVIDIA invent and create a new model, it's called H100, we see the ChatGPT, we see Cloudy, we see the LLM modules starting in the market. So this is the reason of the delay of AI modules because of the hardware. So from this point, we see how much it's important for the hardware and for the infrastructure itself. So to prepare the underlying infrastructure, we need four elements. The first element is AI data center preparation. We're talking about the environment, to ensure the environment of the server and the network and the storage in proper situation to handle, to make sure that all the temperature, cooling, power, networking in good condition. Second, we need AI network. The AI network is faster than the traditional network. We're talking here about 900 gigabit per second. Previously, we're talking about 100 from Cisco or Arista, it's 100 gigabytes per second. For AI, it's reached now to 900 per second. We'll go in details about the AI network. The main components, it's AI compute. It's powerful. It's based on powerful GPU and CPU, but mainly from GPU, not from CPU. This is to handle the huge data processing. And the last, it's AI storage. We need special storage also for the AI. We need to transfer the data. It's called the throughput, input-output, to be very fast to match the processing of the GPU. Now, I will talk about the AI workload type. We have three AI workload type: the training, which need massive of data to train the model, and create model. This training job or training model, it's need thousands of GPU. It should be more than 500 GPU to create the model. The second type, it's fine tuning. Fine tuning to refine the model based on the specific application. It's need 100 of GPU, not 1,000 GPU, because it's only refining the model. Inferencing, it's leveraging the models of business application. So when the customer contact the AI workload, they contact this as AI model based on inference servers, not the AI, not the training or fine tuning server. Now we will go details in data center energy. So previously, the traditional data center, we're talking about before 20 years or 30 years back, the data center capacity for per rack, it was 3 kilowatt only. And we call this as low density rack. Now, after 5 years or 10 years, the capacity of the rack, it's become 5 kilowatt or 2 kilowatt. We change the method of the cooling. We create something called cold aisle and hot aisle to increase the efficiency of the cooling. Then, after the virtualization and the high performance computing HPC, we go to high density. High density means that the power capacity of the rack, it's reached to 40 kilowatt. After dealing with the AI workload, we increase from 40 kilowatt up to 100 kilowatt, and it will reach to 300 kilowatt. So we need special cooling, special power, special containment to host this type of the hardware. Now there is two types of the cooling for the AI workload and the HPC, air-cooled. Actually there is three types of the air-cooled. It's rear door cooling, in-row cooling, and head of row cooling. This capacity reached to 41 kilowatt only. If you want more than 40 kilowatt, we go with the new technology. It's called direct liquid cooling. This direct liquid cooling increased the capacity from 40 kilowatt to 300 kilowatt. So most of the manufacturer, NVIDIA, Cerebras, AMD, they are using the DLC. Who's the manufacturer of the DLC cooling? The same manufacturer of the hardware of the server. Supermicro, HPE, Dell. So we will talk about the direct liquid cooling in next slide. So to keep the efficiency and increase the capacity of the cooling, we have to be most close to the server itself. And the DLC is the DLC contains three components: the plate, which one is touch the CPU, the pump to reject the heat or to dispose the heat from the server to outside the server, and the radiator, which the normal radiator, it's a chiller. This is the supply of cold air. So there is BUE. BUE, it's the efficiency of the data center. The normal data center efficiency, it's 2. But if we use DLC technology, we can improve the BUC to reach to 1.2. Now, what the challenges of the HPC and AI workload in the passive part? There is a huge number of cable to serve the data center of the AI. The limited distance between the server and management server should not exceed 50 meters. And also there is the weight of the rack. It's more than tons, more than 1,000 kg. And also the long lead time of the delivery because of 2 reasons. Export license. This type of the server needs export license. And the second is the global high demand in the market. So it's reached to 9 months to 1 year. Now about the AI networking. As I mentioned that we need very fast networking, reach to 900 gigabit. The networking requirement. Why we need this as AI network? It's very fast for so many reasons. As I mentioned here, that the key factor related to networking, network technology, the technology of the networking has been changed. The bandwidth and latency should be less. Network protocol, also the protocol has been changed for the networking. That data transferring technique also changed, and the management method changed also in the new technology, in the new technology of the AI network. Now there is 4 type of the network in the AI data center. Compute network. This is this is the main efficient network in the data center for the AI. Out of band network and in band network. This is to make sure the connectivity from outside to inside in the data center, and the storage network. The importance of this network. Our goal to keep the GPU and CPU busy. We have to not keeping the GPU in idle time. The new technology of the network is InfiniBand, has been invented by NVIDIA or by Mellonix, and NVIDIA is the main player in for the AI. Acquire Mellonix. And they invent this is the new technology of the network. As I mentioned previously, that the speed of the network, it was 100 gigabit. By InfiniBand technology, it's become now 900 gigabit. Now about the InfiniBand feature, simplified management, high bandwidth, CPU float, and ultra low latency, network scale out, quality of service, fabric redundancy, optimal load balancing, and the sharp MBI, and supported technology. Now, I will talk about the RDMA technology. This is to transfer the data. Transfer the data between the network, between the memory to memory, without passing the CPU or GPU. To keep the CPU and GPU engaged with another task, not for the networking, to keep this GPU engaging to processing the AI workload. So this is the technology of RDMI. This is the same for the GPU direct, transferring the data from memory to memory without passing the GPU or CPU. We bought this technology to be standard RDMI in the Ethernet network, and they call it ROCI. So we have now two technology, ROCI and InfiniBand for the network. Now we will talk about the server and DGX. The main factor for the main player for the DGX and the server, as you know, NVIDIA. The competitor of NVIDIA, Cerebras, Grok, and AMD. But the main player is NVIDIA because they invent so many chips like H100. Now they create a new powerful GPU. It's better than the H100, 25 times. Is they call it Blackwell GPU, GB200. Now, I will make comparison between the traditional computing and the new computing. In the traditional computing, how much the data or how much the speed of thinking. There is one item for the, we measure the speed of thinking is called beta flop. So the traditional server, they measure the beta flop, they can handle from 1 to 5 tera beta flop. But the H100, they can handle up to 60 beta flop. So we 10 times the H100 server, it's powerful more than the traditional 10 times. The other difference, it's the efficiency. The efficiency of GPU is better than the normal CPU. Also, the dealing or processing of LLM, it's 30 times faster than the traditional server. The connectivity or networking between the component inside the server is better now. NVLink, NVIDIA, they are using NVLink connectivity. Meanwhile, the traditional server, they are using PCI. The scalability for the GPU is better than the traditional server. And this is the history of the history of developing of the server, starting from 2016 up to 2042. So we have now the model called SuperPod. The SuperPod is the main block of running all the creative AI model is available now, like ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud-E. They are using the SuperPod from NVIDIA. Regarding the storage should be connected with the server. It should be certified because there is some application. It should be applicable for the AI workload and should be certified from the server manufacturer. The main vendor for the certified AI workload storage, DDN, Dell, IBM, NetApp, and VAST, and Weka. Now, you know that now creative AI, Gen AI, has been announced after creating after manufacturing the new server the difference between the creative AI and traditional AI, that the creative AI can generate the models by themselves. Previously, the traditional AI can predict, but the models and the algorithm should be prepared by the human. But the generative AI, no. They can teach by themselves and they can create the model by themselves. That's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matsom. Very insightful and a lot of information about the infrastructure of AI. So now we completed our segments of presentations. We covered some use cases in the financial aspect and some use cases in the industrial aspect. We will now hop into the panel discussion where we discuss risks and challenges of actual applications and deployment of AI. For the time's sake of actually having the seats here, we will have some video for you to enjoy it while we arrange the seats.
For 60 years, Software 1.0, code written by programmers, ran on general-purpose CPUs. Then, Software 2.0 arrived, machine learning neural networks running on GPUs. This led to the big bang of generative AI, models that learn and generate anything. Today, generative AI is revolutionizing $100 trillion in industries. Knowledge enterprises use agentic AI to automate digital work.
Hello, I'm James, a digital human.
Industrial enterprises use physical AI to automate physical work. Physical AI embodies robots like self-driving cars that safely navigate the real world, manipulators that perform complex industrial tasks, and humanoid robots who work collaboratively alongside us. Plants and factories will be embodied by physical AI, capable of monitoring and adjusting its operations, or speaking to us. NVIDIA builds 3 computers to enable developers to create physical AI. The models are first trained on DGX. Then, the AI is fine-tuned and tested using reinforcement learning physics feedback in Omniverse. And the trained AI runs on NVIDIA Jetson AGX robotics computers. NVIDIA Omniverse is a physics-based operating system for physical AI simulation. Robots learn and fine-tune their skills in Isaac Lab, a robot gym built on Omniverse. This is just one robot. Future factories will orchestrate teams of robots and monitor entire operations through thousands of sensors. For factory digital twins, they use an Omniverse blueprint called Mega. With Mega, the factory digital twin is populated with virtual robots and their AI models, the robots' brains. The robots execute a task by perceiving their environment, reasoning, planning their next motion, and finally converting it to actions. These actions are simulated in the environment by the world simulator in Omniverse, and the results are perceived by the robot brains through Omniverse sensor simulation. Based on the sensor simulations, the robot brains decide the next action, and the loop continues, while Mega precisely tracks the state and position of everything in the factory digital twin. This software-in-the-loop testing brings software-defined processes to physical spaces and embodiments, letting industrial enterprises simulate and validate changes in an Omniverse digital twin before deploying to the physical world, saving massive risk and cost. The era of physical AI is here, transforming the world's heavy industries and robotics.
So please help me welcoming our esteemed panelists. We will start with Mr. Faiz Khabat from Aramco. He is the he's the Digital Investment Senior Consultant. We're pleased for coming. And then we have Mr. Saleh Swail from Saudi Tourism Authority. Mr. Saleh has a great experience in the financing sector, and he was recently in Bank Al Rajhi and then moved to STA. We have Mr. Ladli Patel from ANB. He's the Senior Advisor at Advanced Analytics. And then lastly, we have Mr. Hudayfa. the CPO and co-founder of Quant. يعطيكم العافية جميعاً. شكراً جزيلاً. سعيدين جداً بوجودكم معنا. Some of you actually took some flights to come here, so we appreciate this very much. I hope that coming and reaching to this place was easy. This discussion today, we're trying to talk about unlocking the potential of AI in financial and industrial sectors. And we have, through this presentation, as you have seen, we have discussed the infrastructure, we have discussed the use cases, and we have discussed many of the applications. We want to open the floor now to talk about our market, really, and understand the maturity level in our market as we're speaking today. And each of you is actually coming from a sector that is enabling in that part. Mr. Faiz, you're from the industrial sector, and both of you guys are from the financial sector, and then we have the solution provider. So each of you together could provide us insights on how to move this forward to bring a lot of applications and accelerate this adoption. We will start with the questions right away. We want to know from you, Mr. Hudayfa, as you're representing Quant. So Quant has been in the market since the very beginning of the wave of AI in Saudi, so around 2015, and you have been leading this, you and your co-founder Ahmed Bukhamsin, and mashallah tabarakallah, now it's actually skyrocketing in its applications. Sure. So for who don't know, one of their products is Suhail. I think Suhail is very applicable, and we all utilize Suhail in many cases. I will ask you the question that I'm asking everyone here. Can you tell us more about the maturity level of the market in Saudi today, and what have you noticed during this period of evolution in this technology?
Yeah, so thanks for this opportunity to speak to all of you, gentlemen and esteemed ladies and my esteemed panelists. So when Quant started 2015, it was more of a typical solution provider, providing data warehouse solutions and business intelligence services. And at that time, when Ahmed and our co-founder Tariq Abdel Jalil started, when they was like visiting governmental institutions and enterprises, talking about data and insights was a bit of, according to Ahmed, talking Chinese to people. And everyone was questioning how insights and analytics could help businesses or governmental entities. The focus was more on automation, digitalization, and mobility solutions. From that time, Quant was so much focused on aggregating data from open data sources. And at that time, one of the leading organizations when it comes to open data was the Ministry of Justice, where Quant managed to collect a lot of real estate information from their open data initiative. And then other organizations started to join and open more data sets to the public. And this is like in the core of the development of data and AI ecosystem. Data is the fuel. If you don't have data, then there is no AI models, there is no large language models and all these fancy applications of generative AI. So this is like very, very important. And the next step in the maturity of the ecosystem here in Saudi Arabia was when SIDF was established. And SIDF has so many programs to support the regulation of data. And one of these important initiatives was the creation of data offices across different organizations in Saudi Arabia. This was like a very significant move to push organizations, government also to open data sets and declassify even, data in general. Then the release of regulations, different regulations that is needed to maintain this ecosystem, the private data protection law, which was released like almost 2 years ago, and now it's effective since 2 months ago. The AI ethics code, the Saudi AI ethics code, was released. Actually, esteemed speaker here, Mu'tasim, mentioned to support the AI revolution from the infrastructure and hardware side. So I think now Saudi Arabia is on the path, and we will see like an accelerated growth in terms of the applications of AI. Now, everyone can see that there is like a lot of businesses who want to tap into AI. Some of them are driven by true needs, and some of them just want to have a piece of this AI, a glamour thing. Okay, and time will, over the time, even businesses will mature and figure out what will be like the right applications of AI within their business processes or business framework in general.
Nice. Do you know where exactly, in which domain that has the highest, I would say, ROI, for example, for AI applications? Because there's always some interest in a lot of sectors, and AI is accessible, and it's not accessible. We would say it's very impactful in all of them. But in the market of Saudi today, which one of these sectors do you think has the highest potential and does have the highest focus as well?
Frankly, it will be like hard to figure out what will be like the sector that will get a higher ROI out of AI applications. But frankly speaking, I think that automation will be like a major sector that will be impacted. Just imagine like applying all these kind of AI agents powered by the large language models, where you will be able like to get answers for questions in seconds. So all these call centers can be automated. We will see like multimodal AI agents who can like tell you a lot about your interaction with a certain governmental entity, rather than just like moving from a section to a section, following up on a certain application. So I think that will be like the major area that people will see the impact of AI, not only businesses in terms of return on investment.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much. I would like to hop into the financial sector. Mr. Saleh, you have been part of the financial sector for a long time, and you have a wealth of information in that area. We would like to know, so you've been part of the data analytics, I think, program, and then there are some initiatives for AI application as well. Can you tell us more about where you think the highest potential of AI is in the financial sector?
Okay.
And there's one more following question. And then how does client experience is going to be impacted with this revolutionary technology?
Okay, let's first of all thank you for allowing us to participate in this panel. First of all, is my voice audible? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. From use cases that can be used, whether it is in the financial sector or non-financial sector, it's clear from different study that financial sector, in addition to the telecom sector, will be at the forefront when it comes to implementing machine learning and AI models, not because of the technology itself, but because of the wealth of information in a structured manner that exists in that ecosystem. The biggest challenge with implementing AI is not just technology, it's more of, do I have enough data point so I can build an AI model on top of it? So in the financial sector, we've been applying machine learning. Prior to machine learning, we were applying analytics prior to the revolution of AI in the post-2019 mainly. Mainly in the risk side, plus in the customer acquisition side. Because prior, there was a predictive model to develop or predict the likelihood of default for a certain sector. I think that will apply to several institutes, which is, should I lend this customer or not? Majority of them was based on a model that gets refreshed every year, either through consultants that come every year. They analyze, and then they predict the model, develop their model. With AI, we can develop a model for each industry, for each category, and we update it on a weekly basis, on a real-time basis. So, for example, in my prior organization, we applied 2 key models, which is the likelihood of default, which is AI-based. It's not something that any human intervention can come into. The good thing about it, which will answer the other element, which is the customer experience element, it added high, let's say, increased the speed of service, reduced the need for a customer to interact with an agent, interact with a human element. It gives the authority to be given to the customer to understand is this product suitable for me? Is it not suitable for me? This is from a risk perspective, but also from a marketing perspective and a targeting perspective. Based on that information that we know that the customer will be getting this product or not, we're able to identify who will have the most likelihood to getting the product and preemptively contact him to get those products. Whether, for example, your loan product or credit card product, or even just your transactional product. Because customer information is one element, but customer movement is another component. So, for example, a customer that is moving from one place to another, who is close to a certain location, which I know for a fact that in that location I have a specific offer for that person's preference or for his desired experience, we can preemptively contact him with a simple push notification through the app or through an SMS saying that you have a special offer at that partner because you're a valued customer for us. There is another element which, based on this data and use cases, that helped, first of all, enhance the customer experiences. Based on the information that we have, we do a next best offer, which is, for example, a customer who just did let's say, a visit to a hospital. He did a transaction at the hospital. A get well soon message will come to him, say, get well soon, we have a certain offer at that pharmacy. That logically, a customer who went to a hospital, he will go to the pharmacy logically. So that's driven based on machine learning and a different model. There is a third implementation, which is done at a contact center, which is something called augmented machine learning, which is more of not replacing the human being, but equipping it with a tool that help him to serve the customer better. So it will act as a personal coach for the call agent, hearing most of his responses, and based on his response, either he provided him with an upsell opportunity or a downsell opportunity. In certain cases, in certain implementation, yes, we piloted it in certain, in Rajhi, for example, where it will take hold of the conversation. In case the agent started communicating information that is incorrect, it will take over the call with a voice recorded message that, based on these interactions, you will be transferred to another agent. So these are possible implementation, but again, it depends on the use cases that you're going to use it for.
Amazing, amazing. This is actually great and spot on a lot of the visions that we have at the SIDF, the client attraction, the loan valuation, and the pre-screening. This is all the discussion that's happening inside this building as well. So it's very inspiring to hear from you that this has been applied in different areas. And we're going to discuss later on, inshallah, the risks and challenges of the deployment. Thank you very much, Mr. Saleh. Mr. Ladil, we want to know from you, how would you describe the maturity of AI in finance generally, and then in a kind of a data granular system? Where do we live now in Saudi?
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think it's audible.
Okay, so when I joined 2 years ago here, the maturity, what I saw, I was working for US banks and from India. The maturity, what I saw in the early stage when I joined 2 years ago, was different what we have right now. So as my co-panel told many things about the initiatives what we have. So earlier days, when as an example, any use cases, what we used to do is majorly copy the leading players like a Raji, for example. So, so we used to follow that trend, right? Now things are a little different.
But yeah, I think A&B is actually doing very much better in the recent years.
Yes,
Not better compared to a Rajhi, but I think better relative to initial times
in our own realm.
Yes.
Yeah. So the maturity was different 2 years ago. Now the maturity is totally different. Even when you see the report card which McKinsey generated, compared to globally, right, the investment are much higher here compared to any other global countries, and also the adoption. Even our MD, he knows about AI, and then there is a steerco happens. What's going around this? So the adoption and the excitement, what we see here are much mature. I mean, the investment from investment side compared to globally, what I have personally experienced. And I see when it comes to the adoption from top management, right? Obviously, things will go faster. So from use case point of view, banks to bank it differs, and mostly we used to follow the leading players in the bank. But now we shifted our focus based on what is our bank priority, and what is that we can do. Instead of if Raji is doing customer churn model. We may not do customer churn like we used to follow, but we may not do customer churn because they are big players and then they attract in a different way. Yeah. So instead, our focus should be the optimizing the existing customers. So that's the strategy. The use cases differ banks to bank, and in our case, retail is the major segment. We are focused most on the retail. Any AI use cases around that. We're also focused majorly on treasury and the risk side, and customer center is also one of the major area which we have. So anything and everything what we are doing is this, creating a business value, taking who is the sponsor from the business, forming a team of squad from business side, making sure that they all understand their roles, defining the RACI metrics, giving them the ownership, and then he should answer to, or he's answerable, accountable. That's how things are getting. So we are much mature, I would say, that as a market, as a Saudi, compared to other, at this stage,
Great applications as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Faiz, Saudi Aramco is one of the largest energy companies in the world. Why do you think AI is important for energy companies? And why do you think incorporating AI and automation processes and quality control processes in these operations is actually very important?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Ibtihal, and the team here for inviting us for this panel and be part of it. Well, as you know, that Aramco is not one of the largest in the industry. We are the largest by far in the oil and gas business. We are the largest integrated oil and gas in the industry. And we look at AI, like our colleague, they said, it is an enabler for Aramco to extend and maintain their leadership in the industry. We look at AI as an enabler for technology that we can deploy to different benefits for Aramco. One is operation cost, reducing the operation cost. Two is maintaining safety across the whole enterprise. In addition to optimizing the different processes within Aramco operation. I mean, remember that Aramco, we go all the way from exploration to production, all the way to refining and distribution. It's a huge, massive operation. The massive data even that we generate on daily basis is huge. And being able to do it by human capabilities, that's impossible for us to analyze and be able to optimize our operation. That's why AI comes in the game. We look at AI as a mean for us to improve decision making on the fly in certain cases. Two is again providing data analytics and be able to predict. As an example, with predictive maintenance, you're able to predict when your equipment will fail and when. and that will as an end result, that will minimize your downtime. So your operation will maintain running at the right cost that you have anticipated already. So that's really, in a nutshell, why AI is very important for Aramco.
Amazing. Yeah, I think you kind of summed every important aspect of it. I think the cutting in price, and then also the production increase, and also the efficiency increase are all very applicable in the industrial sector and the operational sector.
Right. For the manufacturing, especially for the manufacturing industry, yes.
Okay, so that takes me to the second phase of these questions, and we have the second theme is about actually addressing the risks. So every place in Saudi is now discussing and having this discussion open about implementing AI. But I think, Mr. Hudayfa, you have mentioned that sometimes there are business cases or use cases that are not necessarily need to go to the intelligence kind of platform, and it could be easily done in a different platform or like less expensive. We want to really talk about the risks and the concerns comes around each of these sectors for financial and then for the industrial, and then we want to know from the solution provider how do they kind of discuss these concerns with the clients, and how do they provide accurate measures for these concerns. So I think I will start with you, Mr. Hudayfa.
Again, okay. Actually, when it comes to risks, to consume AI solutions, from our experience, recently we worked with one of the governmental organizations, the Royal Commission of Mecca Development. And basically, what we deliver to them is access to quant automated valuation model for real estate properties. This model allows them to evaluate properties on masses, and it will give you an accurate one digit confidence about the valuation of certain properties. The platform, the AI model was deployed within analytical platform at the RCMC. It evaluated more than 367,000 properties. And these valuations is updated almost on monthly basis. So we digest a lot of data dimensions, and based on these dimensions, we come up with an instant valuation of properties, something that could take them maybe years to do. And the whole idea is to help their decision makers to create policies and development plans for different areas in Mecca. And when it comes to the risks, one big question was, okay, where this AI model will be hosted and how you will treat our data. So to address these concerns, first thing, you need to bring transparency to the discussion and explain a lot, create awareness for the customer about the whole solution setup. How is our solution is created? We tell them about our infrastructure, how we are training the AI model, where we are integrating the AI model with the data streams in order to train or refine the model based on their data. So this is very important aspect. The second thing is basically you need to be in comply with the regulations. Yes. So now with the private data protection law, you need to have some sort of an audit. Tell them, okay, the data we are receiving from your part, we will analyze it against this law to make sure that we are not processing any kind of private data outside the boundaries of Saudi Arabia. And one more level to explain, to make sure that we are minimizing the risks to them, is to provide them with explainable AI. So it's not like we are reading all these kind of data points and send it to this black box AI model, and then you will get a prediction for the price or the valuation of a certain property. There should be, this AI should be explainable. We will show to them that, okay, here are all the major aspects we take in consideration while training the AI model, and the weight of each one of these data dimensions and how it will impact the final outcome of the model. Because technically speaking, the model at the end of the day, it will give you 3 values: the maximum valuation, the valuation of the property, and the minimum. And that's it. It's 3 numerical values. And this is not enough. You need to provide them, okay, how these values
you're
came
trying
up with
to
the AI
increase
model.
maybe the traceability of the data, right?
Definitely.
I think that's very useful when auditing practices happens. Because when you have a certain measure, you want to know really what data fit into that certain measure. And so can you add a little bit more about what exactly you're doing with the traceability? So you're adding more, I think that's a technical question, really. So your models are actually less layered, and then there's a human element into it, or it's more layered, and then, but...
I'm not a technical guy. I'm not a data scientist. My focus is more on the applied AI, but generally speaking, when it comes to traceability, what we have done, we trained the AI model in 2 different levels, local and the global level, which is basically represents the layers of the model. So in each one of these layers, we are processing certain set of data dimensions, and we explained to the RCMC team that, okay, why we are picking each one of these dimensions on each one of these levels, and how the AI model will interact if we run one of the layers alone. So that's what we have done with the RCMC. And let me add one more thing. When it comes to address risks, how to deal with the cybersecurity teams. First thing, it should come from the customer side. The champion of the project, he should loop the cybersecurity and IT departments from the very early stages of these kind of projects to make sure that these departments are aware of the, let's say, the main goal and the value this kind of initiative is bringing to the organization. Because other than that, you will be running in endless cycles of making sure that you are in comply with all these, best practices, and some of these does not apply. Let's say when it comes to training AI models, especially, you need to move large amounts of data outside the organization.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Okay, amazing. We want to know from Mr. Saleh as well. Mr. Hudayfa mentioned a lot about the regulations, and I think you agree on that. There is a lot of, when we talk about financial systems, especially and specifically, these are very heavy and come with legacy, and there's a lot of challenges comes when embedding AI applications in that. Can you talk generally about the kind of challenges in the financial sector in specifics?
Okay. First of all, from a regulation perspective, I think it's not just apply on the financial sector, on any other sector, because there is 2 levels of regulation. There is the sector regulator and the topic regulator. So, for example, let's say in the banking sector, we have SAMA as the sector regulator, and the topic regulator is SIDF. Because when it comes to anything related to using personal data, using of AI, using of machine learning, it's regulated through SIDF. But again, there is certain additional regulation that comes to through your regulator, whether in my case is the banking sector, or previously it was the banking sector, or the SAMA. So there is certain regulation in terms of how do I use the data, but also how I'm going to communicate the certain product to those customers. There is certain regulation that comes to non-government regulator, so players. So, for example, the personal data protection law exempts certain government sector from certain section of the law. So, for example, certain sector doesn't require to get explicit consent in certain implementation, whereas in non-government sector, they need to apply that regulation. So, for example, if I'm going to use Saleh's information and send it to another service provider to give him the offer, I need to get Saleh's approval to consent sharing this information. In certain sector, it's not required if it's a government component or a countrywide requirement. This is one element of the risk, but also there is risk mitigation that needs to be applied. Yes, my colleague mentioned cybersecurity team need to be involved, IT need to be involved. That's at the implementation stage, but at the initiation stage, stakeholders' involvement need to be there in day one. Awareness of all regulator, the compliance team needs to be aware in those components.
They have to all speak the same language, basically.
So these are the components.
Great. Mr. Ladley, we want to ask you one more question about what do you think are the best practices in actually refining the AI models to make them more reliable and less threatening in cyber security threats? Do you have any insights on what are the practices that Saudi is actually looking for?
In terms of, you can say the risk side or the AI use case risk side, for us, we started with open source AI models. So installing any of these open source was initially, convincing the internal compliance and was challenging. And then embedding the tools around, the open source models which we download from the open internet, and convincing internal compliance team and building an ecosystem to make sure that we don't download any malware which we can shut down the entire bank, because once that comes into our network, it can again there are isolation of networks, dev, test, and production, but all these libraries are required in the production also. So making sure that all these libraries are scanned on prior basis is one of the major things what we did, and then we did not get approval unless we have the ecosystem built around. Apart from that, regular risk, following the SIDF ethics, AI ethics, making sure that the AI use cases are segregated, prohibited,
What do you mean by segregated?
So use cases which are, some use cases like a social scoring, lending a loan based on the social scoring is prohibited by SIDF, and then high risk use cases like a auto credit. So you have a human before you release the fund. So these are high risk where you require a heavy guardrail or going through the manual process. The minimal risk is like a simple chatbots for internal, so where you don't require much of explanation. And the no risk is basically the cross-selling opportunity. So Sadaya says this, and you segregate these in their AI ethics principle, that you have this. I think following those will make our application safe, and then it will be tested by internal compliance and regulators and the internal compliance team, and also the regulators. And the independent model review is one more concept which some banks have done. We are also planning to do. So as you test your model, obviously I am the data scientist, so then I'll say this is working fine. But having regular audit happens, which is independent model review is something which some banks in Saudi have done it, where they come and then see in every aspects, the operational risk, marketing risk, every aspects, that whether there is any threat, and then they basically assess. They pass the data, including all the explainability and so on and so forth. This is one thing. The second thing is there is one more concept called model management. So where you check all, for example, let's say if I'm trying to download large language model SLM, and then in my network, and then explaining there is no virus or any malware is not there within that is a difficult part. So this is a model management. So building an ecosystem around will safeguard the bank. Yeah.
So you think governing and adding regulations is actually for the better and for the good?
Yes, of course.
Mr. Faiz, cyber threats are also a very important concern that Aramco is facing, and every industrial operation is facing as well. We want to know from your point of view, what are the major cybersecurity threats that are threatening the operational in Aramco, and how is Aramco tackling it? And from your experience, you've been with the digital investment, what is exactly the threats that you cannot tolerate, and the threats that you have the applications inside to tolerate?
Sure. Well, first of all, I cannot go very deep in detail because of
Sure.
confidentiality
Sure.
for Aramco. This is number one. But the whole topic is around AI. And what AI really did, and my colleagues here will agree, is it opened our operations and systems to a very advanced type of cybersecurity threats that are being faced with today in the industry. So AI brings lots of value and it brings amazing benefits to companies like Aramco, right, manufacturing. And a minute ago, they said that the automation industry will be the most benefited maybe today from AI, and that's what really we do at Aramco is lots of operation and automation 24/7. So we have been faced with a new advanced set of threats and cybersecurity. And Aramco took it very serious. I mean, when it comes to cybersecurity, we have initially we were able to put governors and set of laws that we will tackle, and we will do 1, 2, 3, for example, to make sure that the operation is contained and cybersecurity threats are prevented. But down the road, as we succeeded with what we did to prevent AI from penetrating into our facilities and our operation, we came up with a program called Eye on AI.
Nice.
Eye on AI. That's established program within Aramco.
Nice.
And it looks at many different really aspects of how we tackle
I think that goes back to the explainability. If I think that project is spot on that.
Eye on AI, yes. And we look at, first of all, it enabled us to look more into visibility. Our people who are really developing AI systems now, they know the systems very well, and they know the assets as well of Aramco. Number two is optimization. It helped us to optimize our AI infrastructure, right? Number three is the footprint, the sustainability. Everybody tend to forget about the carbon footprint that we really are mandated to reduce, right?
As an energy industry, yes.
Indeed. So really the program Eye on AI within Aramco is a very well thought of and executed, and today it's very well recognized globally.
Nice. That's a great insight. Thank you very much, Mr. Faiz. So with these risks, we want to really discuss the deployment challenges. The deployment challenges usually comes into the immaturity of the infrastructures, comes usually to the culture of actually accepting the AI operation. We want to go briefly to all the sectors and want to know and understand and maybe end by the solution provider, where kind of tell us what practices are actually the solution providers are planning to provide it for these sectors. So for you, Mr. Faiz, we want to know what is really the deployment challenge, because you have with your experience in Aramco, you have seen a lot of projects that are implemented in Aramco grounds and Aramco manufacturing industries. With all of these practices, what is the deployment challenge number one that you face always?
Okay, well, many people, as it sounds very easy, AI, I mean, anybody can, Google it, and it sounds really fun, AI, right? But yet, it's not plug and go. It's not an easy to deploy. One big challenge when it came to deployment is the infrastructure, is the cost. You need to have a huge investment to have the technology and the infrastructure to run on, right? So that was one of the main aspects really of deployment. Two is what kind of use cases you want to tackle, right? It has to be, you need to select use cases and projects that are part of the core value of the objective of the business. They have to have a huge impact with very well estimated measure of value that you are going after. Another aspect of the deployment challenges is the talent. You need to bring your talent
that's true.
up to the level, right? So we had to come up with, Aramco did amazing work and at speed, bringing many different programs for upskilling, different layers, all the way from senior management to the front workers on the ground. So each one were introduced, and until today, we have programs going around the clock educating people what is AI, what is the benefit, and that leads us to the adoption, right? I mean, you do all this work, all this beautiful work of AI, and you do this infrastructure and investment, but then if there is no adoption at the end user, then you lose everything,
that's lost,
right?
Yeah.
That's lost.
Yeah.
So we really had to look at it from all angles and come up with a program for.
Great. That's amazing. Also, I think in the financial sector, that also aligns with the infrastructure and maturity. I think there's also one added layer, and it's very applicable to the industry, which is the data readiness, right? Maybe in a lot of industries, these machines does collect a lot of data, and that's not the case in the finance system. So can you speak about that, Mr. Saleh, please? How can you assess the data readiness that we have today, and do you actually agree that it is a major challenge for deployment?
I think from a data readiness, it depends on the sector we're working in. So for example, if the financial sector, data readiness, it's not a concern. It's more of how you're going to store and prepare those data and align it to be able to feed it into the model. I think that's one element. But I think to comment on the earlier point, which is in terms of the regulation, let's say, the implementation strategy itself. Implementing a model for the heck of just implementing the model, it's not the goal. So for example, this has happened in the financial sector 10 years back, where we call something called the flavor of the month or the flavor of the year. In a certain year, they said the analytics is the flavor of the year. Let's implement analytics. And the following year, okay, there is a tool in place. Tableau is the new hype. Let's implement Tableau in the organizations. We need to define, the organization needs to define what is your end game. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Exactly. What is the challenge you're trying to achieve? What is the benefit you're trying to achieve? Once you define those components, then introduce what are the possible solutions. AI can be a solution. A simple analysis can be a solution for it. Again, AI is an enabler, not a solution.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Thank you very much. Mr. Ladley, do you have anything to add on this regarding the financial sector?
Yeah, so from a deployment side, the initial challenge what we faced is there was a big gap in the skills itself. When I joined, there were a bunch of models sitting in the PC. They were not able to deploy because there was no machine learning engineer, basically, or for say the skill within the market. So I was hired as a machine learning engineer. So the models were they were sitting just idle, and then business was not able to adopt, and there was no integration with the models with the CRM in our case. So skill was the relatively different challenge in the early days. Now it is relatively less. The second is, let's say you build a model and then the business is not aligned. You started the initiative by yourself and then business is not aligned. Business says no, we have some other priorities. So obviously adoption come to them. And then third is like you can say the bouncing back. You build a model, something they wanted to change, and it goes through the cycle of 6 months or 1 year. So time to market is also challenging in terms of deployment, what we face. From data point of view, there are a lot of challenges we faced. Till date also we have a very legacy systems. For example, simple thing is, we have a merchant categories. Like we have merchants, like I go and shop at coffee shop, which is in petrol pump. So it is being marked as a petrol. So let's say I go and like I have built a model or behavior-based segmentation model. So actually I'm spending on coffee, but it actually says that you spent on car or petrol. So this is something like it's the foundation, right? Thanks to NDMO and then the data governance policies, which they bought it last year, and then enforced all the banks to have a proper data cataloging for the proper data lineage, and the bank is working on propagating back and reverse engineering from base 24, the core POS machine, to the data log. So it's like we are going back. The model is just one part, and then having the stronger data is things will be faster. Yeah.
I see. So that's hinting back to that data readiness kind of aspect, right? Mr. Hudayfa, as a solution provider, how do you tackle these when it comes to like government entities and industrial and financial areas? I think providing measures in this area is important. Could you add more to? We understand that there's the infrastructure problem, and then there is also the data readiness problem. So, how do you assess these two separately? And for the data readiness, do you assess things around the data quality and consistency of the data, which is going back to Mr. Laddel's point?
So, when it comes to deploy AI solutions within a certain organization, again, we come back to the data, as data is like the core component. And besides the quality of data, there is one important aspect is basically automation. If you don't have data automation, if you don't have automated pipelines that will move and process data, you will not be able to maintain a healthy AI model. At the end of the day, if we just use a static data set to train the AI model, then that's the end of it. We will develop the AI model, we will deploy it, and that's it. There is no refinement happening. And a very important aspect is to make sure that the customer already have these automated data pipelines in place in order to be able to update the data sets, retrain the model, refine it over the time. So this is one important aspect. And let me come back to Mr. Saleh and Mr. Fawaz's note about AI adoption. There is a very important aspect when it comes to deploying AI solutions within any kind of business or sector, which is basically customer centricity. At the end of the day, as Mr. Saleh said, AI is just a tool. It's not the target. Mm-hmm. It's not that we want want to adopt AI. It doesn't work like this. And I'll give you a very practical example. So in Quant, we already developed this automated valuation engine for properties and real estate. And the way we market it or inform our customers about it is we tap into certain user experiences or journeys. For example, when it comes to a governmental organization like RCMC or the Authority of Land, the Authority of Hayat Amlak al-Dawla, I forget their name. So we tell them, okay, we will allow you through this automated valuation engine to value properties at mass in order to help them in their decision making and policy making processes. The same AI model, we use it to support individual real estate investors by using Suhail Real Estate Wallet. So you just add your title deeds into Suhail app and you get a continuous monitoring for the valuation of your real estate portfolio. The same AI model is sold to the banking sector, where we sell this idea to risk and compliance department that in order to be able to maintain a healthy real estate portfolio, we will use AI to give you an idea about these hundreds or tens of thousands of mortgages you have given to the customers. So as you can see, it's basically the same piece of tech. This AI model that evaluates properties by analyzing a lot of data features. But within each sector, we come up with a different kind of solution to make sure that the customer is in the center of the process. It's not like the AI model.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. I think this was not traditional at all, coming and bringing in the customer, and then from the customer perspective, you actually build the model. That's amazing. As a closing remark, now we have discussed everything about the challenges and the risks. We want to know, as of today, if SIDF and all other external entities attending today, if they want to take this step further, starting today, what is the first thing that they have to look into at their institute? And then how would they strategize adoption of AI? Very briefly, we're going to go with Mr. Faiz.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Let me touch on that. First of all, AI should become part of any organization's core pillar today. Any organization want to thrive and want to excel today for the next 20 years, they really have to consider AI very seriously. So that's number one. Number two is they want to upskill their people, make sure at speed. They need to do it at speed to bring the whole organization
Nice.
aware of what is AI and what it will do for you, especially at your, because people think that AI will replace our work, will replace the
Yeah,
workers.
the employees, yeah.
That's really misconception, really. That's
Yes.
not reality.
Yes.
Reality is it will replace the tedious work that requires manual entry and whatever. And but it should, if we are smart enough, in our organization, it should help us to become more
Yeah, it's complementary
efficient
work.
and more, agile in performing our task. So that's in a nutshell.
So
AI is very
awareness,
essential.
yeah.
It has to be part of your core pillars of your organization, and you have to really make sure that it is being used.
So I think intention, talent, and awareness, right? This is what you're
course.
heading to.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Saleh, any...
I think just to add on Mr. Fai's comment, I think in addition to those points, having a clear assessment where does the organization stand, because I may want to implement the best AI model, but in reality my organization stands from a, not just from a data perspective, but from a people, from a component. Where do I stand? What is the needed roadmap to achieve, to move from stage, my current stage, to the goal stage? Because this is important, because once we define the plan, we can assess how long does it take, what is needed to achieve that goal, and the needed support behind it.
That's amazing, a great answer. So basically looking into real granular assessment to the status of the entity itself. Mr. Ladil?
Yeah, so in my case, like the one which learning we have is prioritizing the use case by assessing deeper level where low-hanging fruits, for say, which has a high-value use case, which can be easily deployed. The business value and feasibility by checking at each department where we can see, and then intersect with the skills and the infrastructure what we have, and finally the forming of the team is important, like a squad. With the required responsibility at each stage is what I feel like important. Yeah.
Nice. Mr. Hudayfa?
So for enterprises, who want like to adopt AI, first thing is, depending on your situation, my suggestion is not to become, let's say, an AI vendor yourself. You need like...
I was going to ask the famous question, build versus buy.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. You need like to do this kind of analysis, and based on each organization has their own circumstances, but if you don't have these kind of maturity when it comes like to digital services or tech infrastructure, etc., just don't. As Ladil said, start with the high value, low impact initiatives, partner up with vendors, and if there is like a certain challenge, you can always, if you want like to tap into creative and innovative solution providers, you can simply work with venture builders that will allow you to tap into entrepreneurship ecosystem and to create, let's say, a startup or business that solves a specific problem of yours, rather than just like trying to create your organization and be like the next AI vendor. So again, stay lean and just embrace the change. Yeah.
I completely agree. Thank you very much, our esteemed panelists, and thank you for the audience for being part of this as well. We want to open the podium for questions for 5 minutes. If anyone has a question, yes, please.
Mike.
Thank you all for your for this full session. I'm not sure if you can hear me well.
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay. So when you talked about AI, I was thinking large data centers that are used, and the the possible environmental impact and the harmful environmental results of AI. So the question is open to all of you. What's your stance on the environmental impact of AI?
That's a good question.
If I may
yeah.
jump in.
Please.
Okay, well, definitely we mentioned that initially. We said, yes, we are deploying AI. We have to monitor, and that's what we do at Aramco. We are part of the program we created for Aramco. It's called Eye on AI. Part of it is to monitor the sustainability aspect of deploying AI. So we want to really reduce the carbon footprint for the industry. So yes, this is very, very important. But the good news is with today's technology, like Sambanova as an example, that's another chip maker like NVIDIA, right? Are you aware of it?
To be honest,
No, not yet. Okay, Sambanova is a very well-known chip maker that we, Aramco, even we do business with.
It's supposed to be environmentally friendly.
Within Aramco, what really we did is we created a whole ecosystem for. I like what you ended your speech with is you need to partner with AI vendors or digital services, right? So within Aramco, we created a whole ecosystem of the digital journey. That's why we have investment group, which we invest in leading companies for digitalization. So we know that 20 years from now where they're going to go, right? So, and we also have digital factory where we really manufacture, where we really develop and deploy these AI models, and we monitor the footprint, and we monitor the cost, and we monitor the operation, we monitor the use cases, or they are the most ones that are going to give us impact and value to the company.
Yeah, so you're utilizing AI models for environmental friendly stance.
Absolutely. So what I'm trying to say is when you select to deploy AI, make sure your infrastructure today, touching back on sustainability, make sure your infrastructure does have the latest and the greatest technology that does footprinting and all that, because Sambanova is one of them as an example. It really does your AI, but a much faster inference and at a much lower carbon footprint.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Does anyone want to jump in for this question, or we take another question?
So it is actually mandated by some also to from a banking side that to
it's
have
mandated.
yeah. So to have like on less carbon, or to have a strategy around how do you reduce the carbon footprint. So there are many banks are also working around that. Yeah.
Any more questions, please?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdurrahman from SIDF. Thank you all for comprehensive presentations and information. Actually, I have two questions. The first question is a general question. When we talk about AI, the main headline is, will AI affect the human workers? And yes, many people talking that millions of people will lose their jobs around the world for AI. AI will replace their jobs. Their jobs will be replaced by AI. And some people, on the other hand, say no. It is like the AI will take over the routine tasks, so there is nothing to worry about. So I need to, it's very important for me to hear your opinion about this. And the second question is for Mr. Saleh and Mr. Hudayfa. What is the main challenge now in Saudi Arabia that prevents individuals or companies from implementing AI? Is it the data readiness? Is it the awareness? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hudayfa?
The first question was
It was about the
on replacement of jobs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So for the first question, it's hugely debated that does AI will be, let's say, eliminating a lot of jobs or not, and when we will hit the singularity where AI is doing everything and overtake, humans. So I do believe that AI will replace some jobs. There will be like certain jobs that will be eliminated. The same way automation replaced a lot of jobs. For example, in the mining industry, there was like a time when people used to dig in mines, right?
Yes.
Now it's machinery and replaced all these kind of jobs. And the same will happen in this era of AI rising to take over these kind of jobs. And I do believe that the most jobs exposed for this kind of risk are the tedious ones that require like a lot of routine activities to do. Those are like the activities AI can do very well. So we will see like AI taking over some of the jobs in the market. So that's my take.
Mr. Saleh, would you want to add to that, or
to be honest,
go to the second question?
I think just to add a small comment in terms of, yes, jobs will be replaced, but it's not going to happen overnight. It will take a certain duration to be replaced. In the current implementation, most of the applied AI implementation, it's more of a supportive component, enabler component to reduce the time of doing the job, or reduce the need of, instead of needing 10 people to do it, I need 1. But it didn't eliminate a complete task as of yet. But it will happen.
Sure, if I may add to that.
Please.
It just reminds me with, yes, it is eliminating these tedious jobs, but it's also creating many more. Like, for example, data engineering. Just 5 years ago, we did not have data engineering, correct?
True.
So it's really opening more opportunities on a very high level. One of the jobs, like I heard, like in the US now, they are debating the robo-taxis. The taxi drivers are very upset, especially in Venezuela, I believe. Like in South America, they were fighting that we do not want robo-taxis to come in because they're going to lose their jobs. But again, it will create other opportunities. 5 years from today, we're going to have a new set of jobs that did not exist today. So we just need to be, again, we are back to, we need to be aware what's happening and learn as much as possible and at speed. Every day, this is like a call for everybody. Every day, if you are not learning something new about the industry and the AI, then you're really being those targeted jobs, right?
Yes, yes. We want to just very slightly address the second question, which is the real challenge.
Yeah.
Mr. Saleh, would you add to that? Sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Khalifa.
So for the challenges, I think like one of the main challenges is basically the availability of data sets and the data readiness. At least at Quant, we face this challenge a lot. We want like to address certain AI use cases, but sometimes we don't have access to the data, and on other occasions, basically the data is not in the right format to consume in order to be utilized. So this is, from my perspective, is like one of the main challenges, and I think with Sadaya's help, the push towards more open data sets, push to the market will help yani, and to overcome this over the time.
Okay, we will have to wrap up. Thank you very much, our esteemed panelists, and thank you, the audience. You have a question? You have one question? Okay. There is no time, actually.
Okay.
Okay, so
we can take it off,
yeah, we
off
can
the
take
stage.
it. There's the networking event happening after. Okay, Mr. Mast.
The implementation of the project, like the infrastructure, it's need partnership with the manufacturer, NVIDIA, Seminova. This is the first. The second, experience of the implementation of the project. You have to get the experience for that center environment and for the hardware, the configuration as well. So yes, there is the capability of the implementation of this is the type. It's need special expert. And in addition to that, it's need most of the manufacturer of the GPU now it's need expert license. So it's take a long time. It's need relation with so many departments to expedite the project and to get the proper license to implement like this.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Martasim. We're ending this session. Thank you very much, everyone. And now for the time for awards and recognition and closing remarks. Okay. Awards and recognition.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ibtihal. Thank you, all the organizers, everybody who arranged this, our distinguished guests and speakers. We're very honored with your participation and sharing your knowledge in such a fascinating time in the age of technology, and also revolutionizing this general purpose technology. It's going to be fascinating to see how we utilize it and learn from really pioneers such as yourself in many different disciplines. How are you using it, and how are you putting it to the best applications? We are confident that this is going to be a game changer for every aspect and every domain. One of the most important things is not to stop here. Really get involved, get engaged, make sure that you are part of it. Play with it as much as you can. That is the best advice we can take from our distinguished guests today. There are so many free tools. There are so many ways that you can use it. Make sure that you are part of this transformative journey. Don't be left behind, and engage and welcome conversation and communication between yourselves, whether internally and externally. The most important thing is don't be afraid to do mistakes. It is very important just to get your hands dirty and share your experiences with everyone. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the participation, Ibtihal, Mr. Ali Mujahid, and everybody who participated in arranging this session. Thank you so much. And we want you to be part of future events, inshallah, in the future, as AI is going to be a cornerstone in a lot of the things that we do at SIDF, with our clients, with our employees, with the ecosystem, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.